Hello, good day to you, and in this video I'm going to be explaining how Microsoft Excel works. So basically we are going to be treating the introduction to Microsoft Excel and some basic concepts as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned. So welcome to Microsoft Excel, and just like the older Microsoft product interface, so we're going to be familiar with the Home tab, the Insert. So basically we call all of these guys the ribbon. And then we have the tabs, we have various tabs. We have the Home, we have the Insert, we have the Draw, Page Layout, and so on and so forth. The Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet tool, which is the basic knowledge. And when we say spreadsheets, basically it's anything that contains the row, columns, and cells. So when operation can be performed using the columns, using the row, and then using the cells, then we call that particular tool a spreadsheet. So in Microsoft Excel has the columns. So all the alphabets from A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on and so forth are called the columns. Then when it comes to the rows, we have the row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and so on. So when it comes to the columns are also called the vertical. So this is the vertical orientation of the data set or of the Microsoft Excel. So coming down from this side, then we call it the column. Then when we are going by the numbers, the numbered parts, which is, say for example, the 11, 12, 13, and so on and so forth, we call these guys horizontal. So this concept of vertical and horizontal usually confuses people, but when it comes to Microsoft Excel, just use this basic concept. So where you have the alphabet A, B, C is the column. So also the vertical. So the alphabet lettered or the lettered part of Microsoft Excel is called the column. And the columns is also refers to the vertical orientation. Then when it comes to the horizontal, then we call it the numbered part. So the numbered part of Microsoft Excel is called the rows, and it's also in the horizontal formatting. So the vertical is the column, then the row is the horizontal. Also, I have a simple acronyms that I use for them, or more like a term that I use to recognize these two things or this concept. So I use column vertical, which is CV, to understand people a lot. So which one is vertical, which one is horizontal. So when you can identify the column, and don't forget the column are the alphabetical or the lettered part of Excel, which is the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, going like this. So these are the columns. And then when it comes to the numerical parts, the numbered parts, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So CV, if you think this little code is going to help you to easily remember these things, so you can use CV, which is column vertical, and then when it comes to horizontal row, I use HR. So HR is horizontal row. So this guy is easily going to, or this little code is going to help you to easily remember how to understand the concept of vertical and horizontal in Microsoft Excel. Also, we have in Microsoft Excel, don't forget we said Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet tool. It's a spreadsheet tool, and the spreadsheet is made up of columns, rows, and cells. So we have these three major concepts when we are talking about a spreadsheet. So if these three concepts are met, then we can refer to a tool or that particular tool as a spreadsheet. Not totally in some cases, but then to a very reasonable and large extent, they are called the spreadsheet. Now, since we should have gotten a grip of what a column is and what a row is in Microsoft Excel. Don't forget the numbered part A, B, C, these are the columns. The numerical part 1, 2, 3, and so on, these are the rows. Then what are cells? So you would notice that Microsoft Excel is made up of boxes. We say different boxes when you open your Microsoft Excel, and each of those boxes are called cells. So the cells also have a name. So each of the cells they are not just like that, because we said that we have column A, column B. That means the columns have a name. We also have the rows. The rows are numbered. We have row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and so on. So what about cells? How can we name cells? How can we refer to a cell? So we refer to cells with the interjection where a row and a column is meeting, the particular point where a column and a row overlaps. is the cell name. So let's say, for example, we have, this is column I, don't forget, and this is row 11. So if I click on this particular cell, that means what is the column here? The column is I. So I have I, and what is the row? The row is 11. So that means the name of the cell is I11. Let's try another concept. Let's say, for example, I have this column. This is column N. So if I click on this column, this is N. If I click on this cell, then what I'm going to look at is, I will look at the row and the column. First, majorly, the column usually comes first when we are naming the cell. So this is column N, and row what? We are going to navigate and check for the row. So this is row 3. So that means the name of this particular cell is N3. So this is one of the concepts that you should understand when it comes to Microsoft Excel. And also, immediately you click on a cell without even naming it yourself, you can find the name around here. So immediately you click on the cell, the name is going to be coming up on this particular place. So this is the name of the box or the name of the cell. So without you having to type K5, then this particular place is going to tell you that the cell you are presently working on is called K5, because that is where K and 5, the column K and row 5 is meeting up. So basically, this is a very simple concept in Microsoft Excel that you need to and you should understand before even diving into Microsoft Excel as a whole. Now we've been able to identify columns and rows as well as the cells in Microsoft Excel. Also, we have what we call range of cells. So when we say range, basically it means from one place covering a particular place to another. So let's say, for example, if I say I'm trying to highlight this range of cells. So this is highlighting range of cells. So when you want to highlight, you click on, using your left click, you left click a particular page, then you just draw down without leaving your left click. So when you left click, then you just drag down. That is highlighting. So basically right now I am highlighting from what? From I3, as you can see, from I3 to I12. So this is called highlighting range of cells. Also, we have a concept called the Excel intelligence. Microsoft Excel is a very intelligent concept. A very intelligent tool. So when it comes to data analytics, the foundational and the basic tool that we usually recommend for any person that is trying to come into data analysis is to learn Microsoft Excel because of its simplicity and also the wide range of acceptability. So a lot of companies, a lot of businesses make use of Microsoft Excel in analyzing their data and making informed decisions. So how intelligent is Microsoft Excel? So let's say, for example, I just decide to say, hey, January, for example. So when I click on this January, then navigate to the bottom right corner, as you can see. So we have the bottom right corner around the cell. So by the bottom right corner, if I say, hey, I want to drag down. So if I drag down, then what you notice that what Microsoft Excel is going to say, hey, so you type January, that means you want to continue February, March, April, May, June, and so on and so forth. If I say month, this time I'm not saying Monday. So I'm not expecting Microsoft Excel to determine that this is actually, or this has anything to do with weekday. But if I drag down, Microsoft Excel is still going to say, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to abbreviate the name of the week name. So we have Monday, Tuesday, then Microsoft Excel is basically going to say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on and so forth. So this is how intelligent Microsoft Excel can be. Also, I can say 1. Then when I drag down, then it's going to give me options that, okay, do you want to copy down this thing that you've done, or do you want to increase it in series? We call it field series. So if I click on the field series, then you notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is Microsoft Excel in a nutshell. So Microsoft Excel is a very interesting tool that can aid and help you analyze your data in a faster and a very simpler way. Although Microsoft Excel has limitations. So what are the limitations of Microsoft Excel? For example, Microsoft Excel cannot work with large data sets. So now we have row 1. How many rows do we have in Microsoft Excel? To determine how many rows we have in Microsoft Excel in total, or how many records that Microsoft Excel can take. So basically, if we say control down, if you press control down, then you can see that this is the last row that we have in Microsoft Excel. Using control down is basically trying to check what is the last row coming down as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned. So in this case, it's going to say the total row in Microsoft Excel is this figure. Then when I press Control Up, then it's going to take me to the first cell going up as far as this column is concerned. Then if I want to confirm how many columns I have in Microsoft Excel, then I can say Control Right. Don't forget, we have A, B, C, D, E, F. So I'm going towards the right hand side. So when I click on any part of the cell, then I say Control Right, then it's going to tell me that the last column in Microsoft Excel is XFD. So that means we have A, B, C, D, E, F. Then when it gets to Z, Microsoft Excel starts counting AA, AB, AC, AD. Then when it gets to ZZ, then it's starting AAA, AAB, AAD. So you can imagine the number of combination that actually makes up the columns in Microsoft Excel. So that's a lot. Now, coming back to Microsoft Excel, we are going to be working with the Microsoft Excel. This is the Microsoft Excel interface. We are going to get ourselves familiar with a lot of tools as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned, the functions, formatting type, formatting style, and so on. So when it comes to the formatting, the next tab that we're going to be working on here is the formatting. So when it comes to formatting, there is a lot of things that you can format, or there is a lot of formatting style and formatting method when it comes to Microsoft Excel. Now, basically, when you type in Microsoft Excel, say for example, if you type a number, if I type a number, let's say 20, so let's say I type 20, then you will notice that the 20 is occupying the right hand side of the cell. If I type something like maybe my name, so if I say Wittig, then you will notice that this guy is occupying the left hand side of the cell. So basically, this guy is telling you that when you are working with numbers, numbers are always going to be going to the right hand side, while text are going to be going to the left hand side. So when we say text, it basically means alphabet. Now, if I come back to the right hand side of the data that I'm working with, now if you see the model, you notice that the model here, Nikas, for example, the first item that I have under the model is occupying the left hand side, which is the default in Microsoft Excel. So when you have the month, you will notice that month in this case, month is also alphabet, but the month is at the middle or at the center of the column. So why is that? It is because of formatting. So I can come here basically and say, I want to highlight everything and put them in the center. So if I say Control Shift down, we use Control Shift down to highlight everything on the column to the last part. Control, hold your Control, your Shift, then press down. So you will see that every single item in that column has been highlighted. Then you can come, so under your Home tab, you will see Alignment. So under the alignment, you will see the Align Left, Align Center, then Align Right. So if I press Center, then you notice that every single item there are occupying the center part of the column. So all of them are going to be arranged in the centered part. Then when you say right, then they are going to go to the right. Then when you say left, they go to the left. So basically, you can format anyhow you want. So, but by default, what you usually have is when you're working with text, they go to the left hand side. When you're working with with numbers, they go to the right hand side, and so on and so forth. So now, before talking about how to go about the other formatting style that we have in Microsoft Excel, it is important that we learn something we call data types in Microsoft Excel. What are data types? So when we collect data, data comes in different types, and it is important that we assign different types that each of these data belongs to. So firstly, we have numerical. We have numerical data type. We have string. We call it string or text. So string are the same thing as text. We have date data type. We have the date data type. We have a lot of them as well. But every single thing that we're going to be working on, they also belong under each of this. So when we say numerical, it means anything that has to do with numbers. So under this place, or let me just put currency, but currency can also be termed as numerical, but let us differentiate them. So we have these data types that we are going to be working with as far as data analytics is concerned. So let's start with numerical. So when it comes to numerical data types, so that means basically we are trying to work with numbers. So anything that has to do with numbers are numerical. So how can we identify numerical data types? So it is very simple, pretty simple. So let's say, for example, I have 2, I have 5 or 3, I have 6, and so on and so forth. So all of these are numerical data type because they are numbers. Then when it comes to string, I have names, Wittig, I have Twitter, I have, let's say, YouTube. So these are alphabets. This is anything that has to do with text, textual value, alphabet. It can also be alphanumeric. So in case I say AMG20, so this is combination of alphabet and numbers. So anytime we have alphanumeric data, they are also referred to as text because Excel or any data analytics tool is going to be saying them as text. Then we have date. So let's say, for example, I have 1/1/2024. So this is a date data type. But you will notice that immediately I type 1/1/2024, it is occupying the right hand side. Yes. Now, let me say, for example, I say 23/1/2024. Basically trying to say today is 23rd of January 2024. So if I press enter, then you notice that this guy is occupying the right hand side of the data. Why? The reason is that by default, the dating style in Microsoft Excel by default is MMDDYY. That means the month should come first before the day and the year. Now you'll notice something. When I type this date, if you come to your home tab, then this is where you can identify the data types. So if you come to the home tab, you will notice that this guy is saying, okay, this is a date. But by the time I click on this, then it's saying what? It's saying general because it cannot identify this guy as a date. Now let me try and interchange it and say, hey, I want it to be 1/23/2024. Then immediately you see that it is now saying it as a date. Because in Microsoft Excel by default, don't forget, we have the month coming first before the day, then before the year. We also have currency. So when we say currency, that means we are talking about money. So we have 20, we have 30, we have 30, and so on and so forth. So if you want to make this guy currency, basically what you do is just highlight as much as you want, or maybe you just click on any of them. Then when you come to the number as well, you will see a $sign. So when you click on the $sign, then you notice that this has been converted to a currency. So a particular currency which can also be changed to whatever you want. So now, when you now have, let's say, a situation whereby you have 23/1 then 2024, and this guy is telling you that I'm not understanding it as a day. How can you change a dating type or a dating format? So now, let's say, for example, I have this 1/23/2024, which is already agreed that this is a United States format. So by the time I come to the date, as you can see, we have dates. You can open up the drop down and say more number formats to open up more options for you, or you can make use of this small drop down. So you can see by the bottom right corner under the number, you are going to see an option. So when you click on that, it's still also going to open up the dialog box. The same thing the guy is also going to do for you. So this is where we are going to be formatting the dates to our taste, what exactly we want. And immediately we open up this dialog box, you can see the options that is coming out. The first thing that we may want to change is the location. So do you want to change the location from United States to maybe the United Kingdom? And then United Kingdom, can you see that now we have 14/3/2024, and then the sample, and yes, we have 14/3/2024, basically saying that 14 is the day, 3 is the month, and 2012 is the year. So when I click on OK, then you see that this has been changed to 23/01/2024 because of the location or the way they write the date in another country. So you can also change the country to anyone that you want. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to look for Nigeria. Then we have a lot for Nigeria. So for example, in Nigeria, we have different different tribes in Nigeria. We have the Hausa, we have the Yoruba, and so on and so forth. So if you want to work with the Yoruba, if you want to work with the Hausa, if you want to work with the Igbo, if you want to work with Fulani, and a lot of them, Edo, we have a lot of options as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned. So let's make it easy. Let's say, for example, I'm working with this, and you can see that I have an option to change this to entirely in Yoruba format. So if I click on OK, then you see that this has been changed to a Yoruba style in Nigeria. You can always revert this, change it to which one you want. Let's say, for example, I'm trying to look for the Igbo so that we can have, so that is going to be I. So I should come after, yes, I think somewhere here, GHI. So we have the Hausa, we have the Ibibio, we have the Igbo. So the Igbo now, by selecting it, then I click on the dates, then it's going to see that this date is going to be written in Igbo language. So you can change it to any style you want, the Hausa, the Edo, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can change the dating format in Microsoft Excel to your taste, depending on the location or the locale that you're working with. You can also change the style if you want only the month and the year, or you want the month and the day, or you want only the year. So you can change it as much as you want. Also, we have the currency type too as well. You can change the currency style from, let's say you don't want to work with Naira, with dollars, you want to work with something else. So you basically go ahead with where we went to the other time. So let me come again. You highlight the numbers that you want to change. You come to the drop down, you click on it, then you are going to see currency or accounting. So when you click on currency or accounting, then you can come right here and say, hey, I'm looking for another currency. Then we have a lot of them here. So basically, just like I've explained before, the Nigeria, you cannot see just a single Nigeria. You're going to see Nigeria in their different tribes. So let's look for any Nigeria that we can get our hands on. It can be any country. So let's say, for example, we have the Kanuri. So you say, okay, then you see that this guy changes to what? To Naira. So we have 20 Naira, we have 30 Naira, and so on and so forth. So this is how we can manipulate different data types that we have in Microsoft Excel. So we have the numerical, we have the string or text, we have the date, we have the currency. Now, how can we now apply these guys into our normal, our normal data that we are working with? So if you check this simple table that we have here, or data sets that we have here that we're going to be working with, we have the price or unit that is already formatted in currency. So as you can see, so how can we properly format our data in Microsoft Excel? So basically, the model, I already know that the model is going to be in form of a text. So what I'm going to do is click on every single thing inside of the column A, which is the model, come to this option, drop down, click on it, then come to text, as you can see. So text means these guys are alphabet. So when I click on it, then that's done. Then I can click on the column B, which is date. By default, date is always going to recognize itself as date. But you can come right here and say, hey, I want it to be date. So you can change it to date depending on how you want to format it. So basically you click on here, because if you click on this guy is not a date, but you can format everything as a date. Then we click on column C. Also, we can see that this guy is already in text. Confirm that this column D is also in text. Column E is a number, which is a numerical data type. So you can also change it and say, hey, I want it to be in maybe decimal or something like that. So you can say, I want this guy to be in decimal. So if you click on numbers, then by default, you see that they are in decimal. If you want to increase the decimal, we have two options here. So we have increase decimal. So if you click on increase decimal, the decimal point is going to be increased, or you can decrease it right here so that you can have a whole number. Then when it comes to the last part, we can see that it is in currency, just exactly the same way that we did for the other part. So you click on the option, go to number format, and then you are going to select currency. So depending on the currency that you are interested in working with, maybe Hausa, then say okay. Then you see that this guy is now going to be in form of a Naira. So basically that is how we can make use of number formatting or data formatting in Microsoft Excel. But before we can do data formatting, we need to understand data types, which we have also already explained. Now moving on to the next tab, we have what we call conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. So see conditional formatting as a simple form of data visualization that easily tells us a story about what our data looks like. So now, for example, we have this data, this simple data about our students. So they have their test score, unit 1, quiz 1, test, and so on and so forth. So we want to apply conditional formatting on each of these columns. So we have from column B to column H. So how can we apply conditional formatting? So now let's say, for example, I'm highlighting these numbers. Then I come to, under my home tab, there is conditional formatting. So when I click on conditional formatting, then I have a lot of options here. So I can say, hey, I want to highlight cells. Highlight means I want you to show me, give me a background color, but based on the condition. I want to format this cell on a condition. I want to highlight cells that are greater than, let's say, 50, or that are greater than 70, or that are greater than 80. So basically you are trying to say, hey, conditional formatting, I want you to highlight cells that are greater than a particular number, or you can go for less than, or between, or equal to, or text that contains, if you are sure that there is a name that you are looking for, the name starts with M, you are very sure that the name contains M, then you can use conditional formatting to quickly highlight that particular theme. Then we have the duplicate value, and so on and so forth. You can also use it for top 10, top 10%, bottom 10, above average, and so on. We also have the data bars to signify which one is there. So the higher the numbers, the longer the bars. We also have the color scale. So we have the color scale that is green signifying that this is a very high score, yellow signifying a medium score, and red signifying a very low score. And also we have the icon set. So we have the icon set that is bi-directional. So green moving up means very good. Then yellow that is that is not going up or going down, it is slant. Then that is the medium or average. Then we have the red coming down, which is very low, and so on and so forth. So when you get your hands on the data, you can try out every other conditional formatting type that we have. So from here, we are going to be going into the basic functions that we have in Microsoft Excel. But before we go to the basic function in Microsoft Excel, we'll also have something that we call functions and formulas. So in Microsoft Excel, we have formulas and we have functions. So let's see functions as you trying to tell Excel what to do. And formulas as you telling Excel as what to do, and functions as Excel helping you to do what you want to do. So in formulas, let's say, for example, I want to add 2 plus 2. In Microsoft Excel, before you can perform any operation, you must to make use of your equals to sign. So see equals to as the operator in Microsoft Excel that allows you to perform any operation. So if I say equals to 2 plus 2, then I press enter, then Microsoft Excel tells me 4. If I say, hey, I want to do 2 plus 2 minus 9 or 8 divided by 2, enter, then Microsoft tells me equals to 0 because of what I'm trying to do. Then I can say trying to increase the decimal, but I realize that I'm trying to add up a lot of crazy figures there. So let's say, for example, I have something like 19 plus 2 minus 8 divided by 2, then I have 17. This is me writing formulas and telling Excel how to operate. I'm telling Excel, I want you to add 19 plus 2, then minus, then divide. But when it comes to functions, functions are inbuilt formula, yes. Functions are inbuilt formula, that is functions and formulas that has already been built inside something. So when you want to make use of it, all you have to do is just summon the function and put whatever operation that you are interested in. So for example, I can say equals to sum 2, 2. So in this case, I'm already saying sum. Sum basically means add the two of them together. So in this case, I don't have to say plus, or I don't have to say minus or divide or anything. Just call up the function, put the numbers I'm interested in, then press enter, then I'm still going to have the same thing. So formulas is you trying to put something in Microsoft Excel, then functions is you letting Excel use a pre-built or inbuilt functions or formulas to actually get your operation done. Now, we have different functions that we're going to be looking at. We have the sum, we have the count, the average, we have the mean, we have the max, small, large, count A, count blank, mode, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of them, but we're going to be working with this to start with. So the first one we are going to be starting with here is the sum. So when we say sum is basically the short form of summarize. So when we say summarize, that means we want to aggregate a range of cells or some numbers together. And when it comes to aggregate, that means we want to add in a very simple meaning. So if we say we want to sum, say for example, we have, just like I've explained before, I have equals to, don't forget, every operation in Microsoft Excel starts with an equals to sign. So equals to sum, then you can see there's something we call the arguments. So arguments are the important or compulsory variables that you have to supply when you're working with a function. So I have number 1, number 2. So the number 1 is 2, comma, then I'm going to say I want to add this together with 4. And you can see dot, dot, dot. And immediately I'm done with the argument. Because of this dot, dot means I can input as many numbers as possible. So you can see that the last one here is number 3, comma, 5. Then you're going to ask me what the number 4, because I have opportunity to add as much numbers as I can. So in this case, let's say I want to add these 3 numbers together. Then when I say enter, then it's going to tell me 11. So that means addition of 2 plus 4 plus 5 is 11. So that is basically how sum works in Microsoft Excel. So we're going to be working together with this simple data that I have here. So I have the dress name and the dress sold. So to know how many dresses were sold. So how many dresses were sold, although there is a lot of terms that we have to be considerate of when it comes to working with sum and count. So people get confused with count and sum. So basically what I'm going to say is when it comes to how many, then how many always come with counts, because basically you want to count how many things are there. But when they ask you something like total, so what is the total dress sold, then we can make use of a sum. So in this case, the first thing we are going to be looking at is what is the count. So basically the functions that we have here is not does not mean that it is correlating. This is just the list of the functions. Let me cut it so that you will not get confused. So let me paste it here. We have the sum that we are going to be working with first. So that is the total dress sold. So the total dress sold, I have total dress sold. So just like I've explained, total dress sold is basically going to be the sum of all the dress that was sold. And in this case, we are going to say equals to sum, as usual. Then it's asking me for the first number. So instead of me to be selecting one number at a time, then there is something called selecting range of cells. We explain it in the Welcome to Excel tab, when we say we can highlight range of cells. So from here, I'm highlighting from B2 to B10, basically saying I want to add up every single number from cell B2 to cell B10. So when I'm done, I'm going to close up my bracket and say enter. Then this guy is going to say the total dress that was sold is 157. So that is basically how sum works. So you are going to write equals to sum, select the range of numbers or cells that you want to add together. Then you close your bracket and press enter. Then that is sum. So when it comes to count, count is to say how many dresses were sold at all. How many dresses were sold. So if I'm working with the dress sold, then I'll say how many dress sold. So that is count of dress sold. Count of dress sold. So in this case, then I'm going to be looking at equals to count as opposed to equals to sum. Because right now what we want to do is to count. So we say equals to count. Then as usual, we're going to select the range of numbers that we want to count like this. Then enter. Then this guy is going to say me that the total dress that was sold is 9. So that means we have the suit, the shirt, the round neck, traditional pajamas, singlets, trousers, and 2 that was not filled. So making 9 in total. So that the total dress sold is 9. But the total dress, the count of dress sold is 9. And the total dress sold. So that means we sold 12 of suits. We sold 20 of shirts. In total, what is them? So we have 157, and the count is 9. Then we have the average. The average is to get the average dress that was sold. So basically this is saying all of this. So basically this is more like saying 957 divided by 9. So total divided by the count is average. But instead of doing it in a manual way, we can easily say equals to average in Excel. Equals to average, then select the range of cells like this, close up the bracket and say enter. Then it's going to say the average dress sold is 17.44. Also, we have the minimum. So min is basically saying the least sold item or the least dress sold. Least dress sold. So which of our dress, which of them has the least sold? So we're going to say equals to min, select the range of cells as usual, close up the bracket, enter, then we have 12. Then the next one is the the highest dress sold. So we can work with the highest dress sold. Highest dress sold, basically the opposite of the minimum is max. Equals to max, select the range, then press enter, then we have 30. Then the next one that we want to work with is the small. So small is like saying, okay, I want to know the lowest or I want to know the highest, but not the highest. I want to know the one very close to the highest or the one that is very close to the lowest. So if you use max, let's say we want to get the position of students in a classroom. If you use max, then max may give you something like first position. So if you want to get the second position, third position, then you may want to use something like small or large. So how do they work? So for the second most sold, now we can see that the highest dress sold is, if we want to know the next one to 30, how can we know the next one to 30? Then we can say equals to large. So large is very similar to max. So equals to large, we're going to select the numbers, comma, in this case, then we're going to provide which number do we want to. So do we want to know the second largest or the third largest? That means we are not interested in the first largest. The highest one is not our concern. We want to know the next one to the highest. So next one to the highest is going to be 2, which is the second most sold in this case. If you want to get the third as far as this thing is concerned, so now we have 30 being the highest. So if you want to know the next one to 30 is 25. So that is when you use large. But if you use max, max is just going to give you the highest number. So if you close up the brackets, enter, then it tells you 25. Then if you are going for the second least sold, then that is going to be using equals to small. Equals to small. So when we have equals to small, then the next thing is to select the array. So select the array of so like this, then comma, then you put 2 as well. Then enter. Then it's going to tell you that the second least sold is 12, basically. Then we have the next one, which is the count A. So now let's say, for example, I want to count the number of dress name that I have. As you can see, in this case, I have suits, I have shirts, the round neck, and so on and so forth. So I want to count how many dress do I have. So if I say count of dress name, then I say equals to count. I say equals to count like this. Then if I come to the dress name, then select them up to this place. 9 and 10 are also available, but the name is not there. So if I press enter, then I have 0. I ask this guy to count the total dress name that I have, then it's telling me 0. Why? Because count is a numerical function. Count only works with numbers. So when we are working with count, you can see that in this case we use count and it is working. But in this case, it is not working because we are using it on a text. So what function can we now use to work with text if we want to count text textual value? So we have equals to count A. So count A is a function that counts anything as far as the as it's concerned. So it's going to count every single thing in a cell. So in this case, I'm going to say count A, then count everything, highlight as usual, press enter. Then I'm going to see that I have what? I have 7. So telling me that I have 7 dress name, you can see, don't forget, we have 2 blanks. So that is what is now going to lead us to the next function called count blank. Count blank. So equals to count blank. Count blank is used to count that, then it's going to tell me that what? I have 2 missing values. Then the last function we are going to be looking at here is called mode. So mode is a statistical function that is used to count or return the numbers that returns frequently, most frequently. So which of the numbers appear more than once? So we have mode. Then the function is going to be equals to mode. Equals to mode. So then highlight all the numbers that we have there. Then enter, and it's going to return 13 is the number that appears most frequently as far as this simple data set is concerned. So this is a very simple way to handle or to make use of functions in Microsoft, numbers or numerical values. So having worked with numerical functions in Microsoft Excel, so we looked at the sum, count, max, min, mode, average, and so on and so forth. Now we are going to be looking at functions that we can use on a text or strings. So these functions can be applied on strings. We are going to be looking at len, left, right, mid, lower, upper, proper, and concatenate. Let's say, for example, we have this name. So this name, we want to extract some characters from it. We want to count. So when we say len is basically going to tell us the length of a string, length of the character. So if I say equals to len, that is, I'm telling Microsoft Excel that, hey, please, can you count how many characters make up this Ibrahim hyphen Moise. So if I click on that particular value, then close up the bracket, then say enter. Microsoft Excel tells me the total character that makes up that name is 14. So I can also look at left. There's another function called left. So left is used to extract left part of a string. Let's say I have this name, Ibrahim. Then I want to extract Ibra. Ibra is 4 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to say equals to left. Then it has 2 arguments. The first one is the text. Which text do I want to extract from? Or if you don't want to work with the name, you can also type a random name by yourself. So anytime you want to type a text or string inside a formula, you make use of a double quotation sign like this. So I can say Wittig. I want to extract from Wittig. Then the next argument is what? How many characters? So if I want to extract WI, which is we, so that is 2 characters, then I put 2, close the bracket, then say enter. Then it's going to extract 2 characters from that numbers or from that particular value that I've stated. Also, I can use the opposite, which is right. Equals to right is going to extract characters from the right hand side. So if I'm using the same name, Wittig, then I say comma 2. So that means this guy is going to extract 2 characters from the right. And 2 characters from the right in this case is GI or IG. So it's going to be IG. So if I press enter, then I have IG because I'm extracting 2 characters from this name. Another function that we have when it comes to string function is called mid. So mid is used to extract middle characters. So I'm going to mid. So there is a little difference between mid, from right, left, and mid, because middle is going to ask you where is your middle. So if I have Wittig, then this guy is going to ask me, start number. Where do you want your middle to start from? So I have Wittig, which is W. I have W, which is the first character, second character, third character, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So I have 6 in total. So if by default, Microsoft Excel cannot exactly tell the middle, because if I have 6 characters, then I tell Microsoft Excel to figure out the middle is going to be something that it doesn't know, because 6 is a whole number, even number. So the middle is going to be 3, 3. That is not a particular number. A particular number cannot be figured out. Assuming I have 7, then 3 is going to belong to the left, 3 goes to the right, then there is going to be 1 in the middle. But in this case, I do not know what the middle is going to be. The same thing is happening to Excel. That is why Excel normally asks you which number or which of the character is your middle. Where should I start the middle from? If I want the middle to start from the first T, then I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. So that means the middle is going to start from the first T, then I'll put 3, comma. So if my interest is I want to extract TTI, TTI is 3 characters as well, then I'm going to put another 3. Close off the bracket, enter, then I have TTI. So this guy basically is going to, the first 3 is to extract, to state the position of my middle. And this second 3 is to extract the number of characters that I want. Then the next one is lower. So if I say equals to lower, lower is going to convert to lowercase. So if I have all caps, I have a particular value that is all caps, then I put bam. Then equals to lower is going to convert it to lowercase. Then if I have equals to upper, equals to Wittig, so I have in lowercase, then I want this guy to be converted to uppercase, so equals to upper. Then this guy will be converted to uppercase. Also, I have proper. So proper is sentence case. That is, each word is going to be capitalized. So if I say equals to Wittig, capital, all caps, equals to proper, then I have Wittig. So the first word, the first letter of the word is going to be capitalized. Then I have another function called concatenate. So concatenate is to add all the numbers together as one. So when you want to add all the numbers together, or every textual value that you've extracted, you want to add all of them to become a single value, then that is what we use concatenate for. If I say equals to concatenate, concatenate is the same thing as concat. So if I say concatenate, then I want to add all these values together. So if I press enter, I'm going to say that, in that case, I'm supposed to say equals to concatenate, then let's say my first value is this, for example, this. So I want to concat this together at once. So if I press enter, then I'm going to have Wittig, because that is what I'm trying to concat. I can also say, okay, I don't want to concat in that manner. Maybe I want to go with this first, then this, then this, then enter. So I'm going to have Wittig. So basically, what we use concatenate for is to join 2 or more or several texts together. Moving away from here, we're going to be looking at how to sort and filter in Microsoft Excel. So when they say sorting, basically, we already know that they are trying to make some form of arrangement. And when they say filtering, that means you want to cut out some parts of your Microsoft Excel, of your data, then show some part of your data. So how can you achieve filtering and sorting in Microsoft Excel? So basically, you go to your column headers. So I have my data set like this. Then I'll go to the column header. Then go to your home tab. Then navigate to sort and filter by the rightmost side of your Excel interface under the home tab. So when I click here, then I'm going to activate the filter button. So when I click on it, the one thing you are going to notice is that on top of the column headers, there is now a very small button that is being added. Now I can say, okay, based on the ID, I want to sort the ID alphabetically, or I want to arrange it from the smallest to highest. So if I click on here, then I can say sort this guy A to Z. So if I sort it A to Z, you see that the data has changed. Also, I can say I want to sort the total price from largest to smallest. Then you notice that, so based on the value. So let's do that again. The filter has been applied to the other parts. So from largest to smallest. So let's say, for example, we have the filtered cancelled. So we have the filtered cancelled. So no filter has been added to this guy yet. Now I can say I want to sort largest to smallest. So if I do largest to smallest, then for the next part that we're going to be looking at is the filter and sorting in Microsoft Excel. So how can you sort your data and how can you filter your data in Microsoft Excel? So if you have your data sets, maybe in a table or still in a spreadsheet format, then you are going to look for the column headers, then highlight them. So these are the column headers. Go to your home tab, then you're going to navigate to sort and filter. So click on the sort and filter, then the filter button. So this is basically to identify the filter button, or you can use your shortcut, which is Ctrl-Shift-L. So immediately you press Ctrl-Shift-L or go through that process, you are going to notice a filter button that is now on each of the column headers. So let's say, for example, you want to arrange, or you want to sort alphabetically, or arrange from highest to lowest, or from lowest to highest, and so on and so forth. So basically you can come here and say sort A to Z, then this guy is going to arrange the data in alphabetical order. Or you can say, okay, the quantity, you want the quantity to be from largest to smallest, then this guy is going to be sorting from largest to smallest. So this is basically what sorting is all about. So sort A to Z, that is ascending to descending order, or you want to sort B to Z to A, that is descending order, and so on and so forth. You can try it a lot of things as far as sorting is concerned. And then you can also filter. Let's say, for example, I'm only interested in the West region. So this is filter. Filter basically means you want to separate a value from another. So if I say I want to say the West, I'll click on the drop down. I will uncheck the East, then select only the West and say OK. Then now you can see that the only data that I'm having now is just about West of Excel. I can also say, hey, okay, I want to say East but not West. Basically doing the opposite. Then you're going to be seeing the data for the East and not for the West. So sorting and filter can be as simple as this, and even more than, depending on the criteria or what you're trying to work towards. You can also say, hey, I want number filter, and I want the numbers that are greater than, let's say, for example, I'm only interested in figures that are greater than, let's say, 10, or let's say 100. I only want to see values that are greater than 100, or we can work with 200. So show me data that are greater than 200, as you can see. Now this guy is going to filter down your data to only the data that are more than 200. You can also, there's a lot of things you can clear the filter. You can also say, hey, okay, I want to see that is top 10. So I want to say data that is in top 10. So this is 10. You can say, okay, I want to see the top 5, top anything. You can work with the number filter, as you can manipulate it as much as you want based on what you are interested in. You can say, I want data that is less than 100. So I can trace the period that are not doing very well because they are less than 100. So these are simple ways by which Microsoft Excel can actually help you and your business to make informed decisions. So this way you can trace what exactly could be wrong with your data or with your business. So moving away from here, we're going to be going into paste special. So when it comes to paste special in Microsoft Excel, this is basically saying, hey, I want to get this data, but without applying some of the functions or formulas that is working on it. Let's say, for example, there is a formula called rand equals to rand, or rand between. Equals to rand between is used to get random numbers from whatever value to whatever value. Let's say from 0 to 100. I want to get a random number from 0 to 100. Then if you drag down a little, then it's going to give you a list of random numbers. Now, the trick here is that if I double click and maybe just refresh the page, you will see that the figures are changing. So that means the value or the formula for rand between is always going to work every time a page is refreshed. So if a page is refreshed, then I'm going to have another random numbers. So now I can create the formula that is working under this thing. So basically I can say, okay, I want to copy this value. Let's say you want to use this value in another place. If you paste it in another place, let's say Control V, what the values are changing. So this value is not the same value that is here anymore because of the random value that random formula that you are using. So one way to go about this is when you want to copy and paste, you can say, hey, I want to paste this value, but only in this way. So if I copy as usual, then I can come here and say paste, but this time if you want to paste, so these are paste special option. I don't want to paste in the normal way. I want to paste only the values, for example. So if I click on paste only values, is that this guy that I just pasted is not going to change no matter how many times that I'm updating or refreshing my page. But this guy that is here is still going to be changing because the formula is still there. So as you can see, this guy still has the formula, but if it comes to this guy that I just pasted anymore, so that is one way to paste in a special way. So I'm pasting without the formula coming together. Also, you can also transpose. There is something we call transpose. So basically in this way, the data is arranged in a vertical manner. So we have name, we have the profession. So transpose in data analytics means trying to change the orientation of your data, the way they are arranged. So if I say Control C, then come here and say Control V. So I can come to the paste option and say, I don't want to paste in a normal way. I want to paste it specially. How? In a transpose. So this is transpose. If I click on transpose, then you notice that this guy will be converted to horizontal formatting or orientation. So from the normal way that we have name, can we say we have name and profession, but in this case we are now having name, profession, and so on and so forth. So this is pasting in a special way. And one of the functions that we are working with is the transpose. So transposing means changing the orientation of the data from a particular sense to another. So from this place, we are going to be looking at conditional functions. Conditional functions. So what are conditional functions? Conditional functions are basically saying that, hey, I want to apply this function, but in a logical way, in a conditional way. I want to provide a condition before this formula should work. So we have a lot of them. We have the sum if, we have the sum ifs, we have the average if, and so on and so forth. So let's say, for example, we have China. So before looking at the sum if or the conditional function, let us look at logical function itself. Logical function if. So how can we make use of if in Microsoft Excel? Let's say we want to get the region. We want to get the region of these countries. So in this data, we have Nigeria, China, and the United States. So just the three of them. Now we want to get their region. China should be Asia, Nigeria should be Africa, United States should be North America. So in a situation whereby we have this kind of things to work out with, then we can make use of a logical function to say, hey, Excel, anywhere you see China, then change it to or give me Asia. Then when the country is Nigeria, then give me Africa. We're going to be working with function equals to if. Then I will say if the country, that is if this guy equals China, if this guy equals China, then give me what? So the if function has three arguments: the logical test, the value if true, the value if false. So Microsoft Excel is now going to say, okay, if this logical test is true, that is if the country equals China, then what should be the value if true? So I'll say the value if true should be you provide the value. The value if true should be, so we have equals comma, so value if true should be Asia. We have Asia, so like this. Then now value if false, that is if the value is not true. So if the country is not equals to China, what should I give you? Then I can say nothing, NA, give me NA, or give me blank. We can say blank. So this is blank, or just leave it like that. So value if false is not a compulsory value or argument. So if I press enter, then you notice that China is now giving me Asia. If I double click down, you will notice that all the China is going to be what? Asia, China is Asia, China is Asia. but it is not giving me for the rest of them because I'm only providing one single argument. If I'm using if, then at the end of the day, I will say value if false, comma, value if false is what? If the country is not China. But in this case, I have more than two arguments. Assuming I can say if the value is not China, then give me Africa. Africa. Then we are going to run into another trouble. Because now, if it is not Asia, then give me Africa. Now we can see that it is now providing Africa for both Nigeria and the United States, because that is basically what our formula is working with. That is, if this guy is not, if the country is not China, then give me Africa. So that way, you can see that this one is not containing all our arguments because we are not able to provide arguments for the United States. So what we are supposed to do is we are going to provide another if function and say if again. If the country now equals Nigeria, then give me Africa. But if it is not China, which is Asia, and it is not Nigeria, which is Africa, then now give me what? North America. North America. So when we press go by this, then that our formula will be working. Asia for China, Africa for Nigeria, and North America for the United States. But not in all. I mean, some people may not have the okay, so the if functions, using multiple if functions may be confusing, actually, can get complicated because I have to use two if functions together to get a particular thing. So if equals to China, Asia, if equals to Nigeria, Africa, but if it is not any of them, then give me North Africa. This may be stressful because there is a function called ifs. So ifs is used when we have multiple arguments. So instead of you to be using two if, you can easily use ifs. So now, ifs is asking me for the logical test one. What is the logical test one? So if this guy, which is a country, equals China, comma, then it's asking you value if true. What should I bring if the value is true? That is, if it is equals to China, then I'm going to say give me Asia, comma. Now it's asking you for logical test 2. Then I'm going to say if this guy equals Nigeria, then give me Africa, comma. Then it's asking me for logical test 3. Then I'm going to say again that if this guy equals United States. So basically this guy will allow you to provide all your arguments in a single statement without you having to say using multiple if or providing value if false. So equals to USA or United States, then give me North America. Is this simple? So it can be this simple. So then press enter. Then at the end of the day, you notice that this is now working perfectly the way it's supposed to. So basically the formula is if the country is equals to China, Asia, if the country equals Nigeria, Africa, if the country equals United States, North Africa. So this is very simple way to make use of the if function. Now when it comes to conditional functions, that is, you want to apply some function but based on the condition. Then we have sum if, we have count if, and so on and so forth. So basically sum if is saying that, okay, I want to sum this value, but only if the country is Nigeria. Something like that. I want to sum, but only if the country is Nigeria. So that means anytime you are having a summation, you want to sum, they didn't ask you that what is the total threshold. If they say what is the total threshold, then we can say equals to sum, then highlight, then enter. But if they ask you that what is the total threshold in Nigeria, the in Nigeria is already a condition. They've already restricted you that don't calculate for all of them, only Nigeria. So in this case, you're going to be making use of a sum if. So if I say equals to sum if, open brackets, then the first argument is the range. The range is where is the country coming from? Where is Nigeria coming from? Nigeria will be coming from the country column. comma. Then what is the next thing? The next thing is the criteria. That is, inside this column that you've selected, what am I looking for? I want you to look for Nigeria. Look for Nigeria. You can be following the formula from the formula bar, comma. Then it's asking you for the sum range. That is, okay, after getting Nigeria, what do you want me to do? I want you to sum up the dress sold for Nigeria. Then when you press enter, then you notice that what? The total dress sold in Nigeria is 480. The formula again. So the formula again is basically saying that equals to sum if, look inside the country column and get me Nigeria, then add up the dress sold, but only for Nigeria. Let's try out something else. Let's say we want to count for the total dress sold in China. Or we can say equals to count if, want to count if the country is China. Then it's going to ask you for the range. Now, look inside this range, comma, then look for China. Look for China. So look inside the B2 to B25, then count how many China can you see. Then it's going to tell you that the total number of China there is 7. Or let's say we want to know the total dress sold for shirts. What is the total dress sold for shirts? So we can say equals to sum if, then the range is, where is your criteria coming from? Where will your shirt be coming from? The shirt will be coming from here, comma. Then the criteria is, what should we look for? Inside this range that you selected, what should I look for? I want you to look for shirts. Then the last argument is what? The sum range. The sum range is, okay, now after looking at this column and checking for shirt, what should I now add up? I want you to add up the dress sold of shirts. Enter. Then it's going to tell you that what? The total dress sold for shirt is 90. Now, let's say a situation whereby you have multiple conditions. We have, okay, we want to know the total shirts sold in Nigeria. So the total shirts sold, now we have two arguments. We have two conditions. Total dress sold, total shirts sold in Nigeria. So shirts is one condition, Nigeria is another condition. Now sum if may not work again. We now have a condition called sum ifs, another function, sorry, called sum ifs. So that means we have multiple conditions or multiple criteria. So the first argument is say sum range. So the sum range is, okay, I want you to add up this column, comma. Don't forget that when we are working with sum if, the sum range was the last argument. But now that we are working with sum ifs, the sum range is the first argument. So sum range is, comma, this guy, I want you to add up the dress sold. Now he's asking you for the criteria range 1. So the criteria range 1 means your first criteria. Where will your first criteria will be coming from? So it's going to be coming from the dress name because we want to get shirt. So I will highlight this, comma. Then the next thing is now what? Criteria. Now, since you are telling me that I should look inside this criteria range, now what should I look for inside of this place? I want you to look for shirt. I want you to look for shirt, comma. Then you can see that we still have one more condition. The second condition is country. So I want Nigeria. Where will Nigeria be coming from? Nigeria will be coming from this range, comma. Then what will be the criteria that you should look for inside the country? You should look for Nigeria. So this way we've been able to provide the two conditions and the sum range. So if you press enter, then it's going to tell you that what? 25 is the total dress sold for shirts in Nigeria. So this is how we can go about using the sum ifs. You can also try out the count ifs, the average ifs, max ifs, min ifs, and so on and so forth. Also, we have the logical functions in Microsoft Excel. The logical functions in Microsoft Excel. So we are going to be working with one, and then you can also try out the other ones by yourself. So basically, we have a condition. And the condition is saying that if the revenue is greater than or equal to 14,000, then good. If not, then not good. So we want to grade the conditions. We have revenue. So if the revenue is greater than or equals to 14,000, then say good. Then if not, say not good. So if I have equals to if, don't forget, if is a function that is used to check for logic. So if this revenue is greater than or equals to 14,000, no comma there, you have to type it together. Then say what? Say good. Then if not, say not good. Then if I press enter, then this guy is good because 10,500 is not equals to or greater than 14,000. If I double click down, then we see good. Good means this guy is greater than, this guy is greater than, and so on and so forth. So this data is going to be made available in the link below. Then you can use that to practice these other functions or conditional functions. Now let's look at lookups in Microsoft Excel. What are lookups in Microsoft Excel? We are going to be looking at the VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and index and match. I've already made a video on index and match, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP. You can always check out my other videos in the channel. But now let's make a quick recap on what lookups are and how can we make use of lookups in Microsoft Excel. So basically, let's say for example, we do not have this information. So we have two tables containing the player name, their league, and their country. We also have the player name, team, and we don't have country in here, but we have the player name and the team. There is no team here, there is team here. The only is the player name. Now what we want to do is we want to fill in the annual salary of the players based on this table that we have here. So we have a couple of lookup functions that can work in this sense. And the first one we are going to be looking at is the VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is also called vertical lookup, which is used to check or look up for data from another table vertically. So if I say equals to VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP has 4 arguments. The first argument is the lookup value. The lookup value is what is inside this table and inside the second to bring in information from. The value that is present in the two tables is what? The player name. So I'm going to say, okay, this name, I want you to look for this name in this second table, basically. So look for Cristiano Ronaldo in the second table, comma. Table array. Table array is the new table that you are trying to bring in. So look for Cristiano Ronaldo in this range. Look for Cristiano Ronaldo in this range, comma. Then the next argument is the column index number. Column index number is which of the column do you want to bring in? In this new range that I selected 1, 2, 3, 4. I selected 4 columns. The annual salary is on the 4th column based on the array I selected. So since the annual salary is on the 4th column, I'm going to put 4. Then say comma. Then I have 2 options. True or false, meaning approximate match or exact match. Basically, this guy is saying if I did not see Cristiano Ronaldo, but I see Cristiano Ronaldo, not the same spelling, but approximate, very close, should I still return something like that? Basically, that is what the approximate match means. Then we have exact match. Exact match means no. If you did not see Cristiano Ronaldo, then don't provide anything at all. Then I'm going to select the exact match, then enter. Then I'll say that it's going to be providing or fetching the annual salary of that guy. So basically in Microsoft Excel, when you double click or drag down by the bottom right corner, not highlight. People make mistake of doing highlight. When you highlight, you can't have any copy down. But when you click on the bottom right corner, double click, then it's going by yourself. We also have for the team, which is using the VLOOKUP as well. You can also try the VLOOKUP to also fill the team. Then also you can use the XLOOKUP. So let's try the XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP is basically saying equals to XLOOKUP. Then the first value is the same thing, lookup value, comma. Then now it's asking you for the lookup array. So one major difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP is that XLOOKUP is more interesting and it has more arguments and it makes your work a lot easy. Instead of you to be selecting all the array, you can specifically select which column do you want to work with. Now lookup array is basically saying, okay, look for Cristiano Ronaldo in this array. Look for Cristiano Ronaldo in this array, comma. Then return array is where do you want to return the information for Cristiano Ronaldo. I want to return the team. So this is the return array, like this, comma. Then another argument is asking you that, okay, what if I can't find Cristiano Ronaldo? Or what if I can't find the value or the return of Cristiano Ronaldo? What should I bring? Then you can bring not available if there is no value. Then it's asking me for the match mode is the exact match as usual. So when you're done with that, you can just close up your bracket and it's going to fetch you the team of Cristiano Ronaldo. We have another argument there of XLOOKUP, but it's not compulsory. So this is basically how we can make use of XLOOKUP and VLOOKUP in Microsoft Excel. So to try out HLOOKUP, you can check out my video on lookup values, lookup functions, to check out how you can make use of HLOOKUP, index and match in Microsoft Excel. So basically, we still have a lot of videos. I still have a lot of videos coming as far as data analytics is concerned using Microsoft Excel. But in this video, this is where I'm going to be stopping anyways. If you have any question, or if there is any part that you seem to not understand as far as this class or this video is concerned, you can drop it in the comment section. And if you have any aspects that you want me to work on or to make video on, then you can also drop it in the comment section. I still have video coming on Power Query, VLOOKUP, pivot table, data visualization, data validation, and so on and so forth. Although I made a video on data validation already, so I still have a lot of videos coming. So don't forget to like, comment, and share, and also to subscribe, most importantly, and share with your friends. Invite them to come and subscribe and to come and learn data analytics with Wittig. Thank you for staying behind. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for following up my video. See you in the next video.